Snap, I need to unmute. There we go. That helps. What is going on, y'all? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Um, man, I am so excited for today. I'm just really thankful for this week, man. I've gotten to talk to a lot of cool people, and we're really capping it off right before. I mean, I could not have gotten them in on a more perfect time. Right before the Tensei ceremony, I got Shake from Cyber Samurai, the founder of Cyber Samurai. I kind of ran across Shake actually through his YouTube channel. So this is really exciting. This is actually the first time he's been interviewed, which I think is hilarious. I'm humbled to do so. But I found Shake when I was doing some research on Shin Sengoku, right? I was one of like the first 300 people in Shin. And I saw Ryan's interview with Shake. I was like, man, this guy knows his stuff. I started looking at some of his videos, like his Taio robotics thesis. I started looking at some of his other interviews. He's just really passionate for the space, and then ultimately stumbled into Cyber Samurai. Picked one up a few months ago, actually. Once I saw they announced Gen 2, I at least wanted to pick up one for exposure, and then somehow managed to find myself sweeping multiple. So, yeah, it's one of those projects I'm really excited for because I like investing in people. It's not just Shake either. Like the community there is awesome. The community leads, the developers behind it, the artwork is incredible, and it's just one of those things that culminates into everything. So, yeah, I hope you guys are ready. I'm super excited to bring Shake on. I'm gonna go ahead and do so right now as he's in my little waiting lobby.
What
Shake,
up?
what's going on, man?
How's it going, bro? Appreciate the
Oh,
intro.
oh no problem, dude. I'm super excited for today. Super excited to talk Tensei, Wednesday Tensei Sensei.
Let's
Um
go.
and everything you guys got coming up. We actually had a lot of participation on this giveaway. Which I was super excited for because last night I was like, dude, there's like 5 responses to this. I hope he's not I mean, they're really good questions. The 5 questions that were there. We ended up with like 22. So we have some questions to go over at the end. So, kind of how I want to break it up is let's talk a little bit about what you guys got planned as far as Gen 2, Tensei. Talk about like digging yourselves up from the depths because, dude, you guys were at like 0.3 soul and now you guys are crushing it at 12.
Yeah, dude.
And I think we're just getting started. So, I want to talk a little bit about the history of the project and then we'll work our way into Gen 2, the utility, dojo, training, everything in between. So, yeah, take it away, man.
Cool, dude. Yeah, like I said, I honestly did like my first interview like on a Twitter space, and then this is my first time doing like a YouTube interview. So I'm trying to kind of figuring out the flow of it. But where do you want me to start, dude?
Let's talk about the history of the project. I think that's really important for a lot of people, like to understand. Like you guys are not a new project by any means. You are an OG project, and didn't you guys launch on Radium?
Yeah, so we launched here. I'm just retweeting this to get it on the Cyber Sam account. But we launched September 17th of last year. And we were the first project to launch on Radium. I believe we were the first ever fair launch just in general on Solana, first fair NFT launch. And yeah, so I had been working in DeFi. I was working a 9 to 5 doing business development for a tech startup, and it's like this AI recruiting thing, whatever. But I was working at 9 to 5, and then I in my free time, I was obsessed with crypto. I was doing like 5 hours of crypto shit every night, trading, yield farming, like blah blah blah, making content. And so I heard on this podcast once this guy up Kobe, if you know the podcast Up
Oh
Only. It's
yeah,
like
oh
yeah.
yeah.
So I heard him talking about it like, oh, for most people, like the best way if you're trying to make it is not by trading. It's like you should just work for projects and like get free tokens and like get connected in the space and like work on actually contributing, right? And so when I heard that, I had been trying to like leverage trade up until that point, just getting liquidated like fucking like a noob. And so when I heard that, I started reaching out and trying to volunteer and like do community management and content creation for a couple different projects. The main one that I worked for was is what they're now called Drift Protocol. Back then they had a different name. And my friend from college, who like it was kind of funny. It happened to be at the same time I became a community manager there, and then he got a job as a co-founder. We didn't even know we were both like applying. And so I was doing community management, content creation. I was doing live streams about trading and just like in their Discord all day. And then I did a couple other things for another project on Terra called Apollo DAO. So basically I was like working part-time in crypto, in doing DeFi shit. And I love DeFi. I still love DeFi. And, then I started coming up with this idea for an NFT project for Drift to do, actually. And so our idea was basically, I feel like I can say it because it's so hard to do. No one's going to steal the idea. But the idea was to have like a profile pic or like avatar NFT that changed its traits based on your P&L trading on their platform. So like, and I had a bunch of like ideas. So like, oh, if this person is trading with like over $1 million in their deposits, like they should get like a whale pet next to them on their character. And like, if this person is like, making a lot of money, like they start to like get bigger or taller or like whatever, like shit like that. Right.
Yeah.
So we were talking about that idea and started kind of, brainstorming it. And then the Solana NFT season kicked off like with Degen Apes. And then SMB had this like crazy, like it ran up like 100x and shit. This is when Sol started running from like $20 and $30 to like $150. And so that was started happening. And then, I realized Drift, like they build a perpetuals DEX, right? Like that was what they're building. And like this NFT was very secondary. And I just realized like, okay, we probably don't have the resources to actually do this.
Yeah.
And so I asked their founder, like, hey, dude, do you care if I just do my own project? Right. And he's like, yeah, bro. Like I wasn't even getting a salary from them. So it was like, no problem. Right. So, so that's when I started building Cyber Samurai. And that's kind of why it's like very like crypto native and DeFi focused. So that's kind of how I started it. Because of my connections in Solana and DeFi, we got introduced to Serum. I pitched Serum. Not a lot of people know this because I didn't advertise it, which I should have, but we got a Serum grant. Like, so they gave me some cash, and this was before our mint. So that helped me like quit my job before our mint. And then we partnered with Radium again, like to be the first one. So that's kind of the story of pre-mint Samurai.
That's amazing, dude. So obviously you've been in crypto for a while. I joined probably in 2017. I know it was March 2017 when I finally found, like, I had heard of Bitcoin, but it was always about like the Silk Road and stuff like that. And I was like, well, like, why am I buying this like drug dealing currency or anything like that? I wish I did, because I was in college and I could have used their electricity and internet just to mine Bitcoin with like my crappy PC.
That would have been dope, bro.
I know,
Yeah.
dude, that would have been pure profit. But no, that's amazing, dude. I mean, like, because I got into Solana about $13 and you were already deep in the ecosystem, right? Like you were already in DeFi, you were already working with Drift, and you were already like looking at NFTs. By the time I looked at NFTs, Sol was like at least $100, so talk me through like Cyber Samurai. How did the mint happen? How did you work with Radium? And what happened after mint?
So, we partnered with Radium, and so I kind of want to show you guys this thing because this is something that's like from
I'll go
a
ahead
while
and
ago.
add to the
Is
stream.
it possible for me to?
Yeah, you should be able to share your screen.
Okay, so, so leading up to the mint, I was working with this artist, and he was making these like really dope like one of one type things, and we started auctioning these as one of ones, and so these we still have a separate channel in Discord for this, but they're like they're called the SE cards. And so we made them like there's all these different characters, and these are characters that are like in the comic book, right? And here's Radium's one, like so we did that was kind of before the mint. We were auctioning these just on Olaplex, and it was, dude, so it's kind of such a different world back then. Like, to put in perspective, this is before Candy Machine. So you had to hire a dev who like knew Rust programming and like knew how to like knew Solana development, or was going to learn Solana development with really quickly, right? So back then, bro, like devs, like some devs would take 90% of your mint, like it was like a complete different world to the launch my NFT days where it's 50 cents. Like devs were just fucking caking, bro. They were making like millions of dollars because there was no devs, and there's such, high demand, low supply of good developers. So, I auctioned these cards, and that kind of helped me like convince a developer to work on my project, right? So it kind of gave me some leverage. Like, look, dude, I'm selling these for like 100 Sol. Like people like this project. I'm good at marketing. I'm good at branding. I'm good at, creative direction. So anyways, that helped me get a dev. You know, we did the launch. The launch sold out. You know, the way that it's the same as their IDOs. I can actually show this too. You know, I'm a big visual guy, so I like to show the visuals. Yeah. So if I go to drop zone, they don't really do it anymore, but yeah. See, here we're the first one. So we minted 5K at 3 Sol, and it was oversubscribed by 400. You know, 5x, and that was in 5 minutes. So like it went really well, and then I'll stop presenting. There we go. It went really well. You know, we raised $2 million. It was like it was crazy. And then, but we didn't have a lot. So that's not true. We had some things planned for post-mint. We had like a kind of basic roadmap, and a big part of it was the comic book, and a big part of it was merch. But after mint, well, I can kind of get into that, but that's how our mint went. Like it went really fucking well, basically, you know, like
Right.
it did well. It did like a 2x or 3x, like on secondary, like pretty quickly, tons of
Like
volume.
all you could want, especially for an OG project, right? I mean, like
Yeah.
that back then, launch pads weren't really a thing, you know.
Back
Like
then, everything was ripping, bro. That's the
Yeah.
thing is like if you looked at if I tried to go with our original roadmap today, most people would probably be like, bro, fuck that shit. Like, what is that?
Yeah.
There's no utility, you know?
Right.
But everything was ripping, bro. Like projects were raising, like it was euphoric, you know. Projects were raising $6 million. This is like when Soul Bears happened, when Geckos happened, like it was crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, I mean, like it's funny because, you know, you say that it wouldn't have been well received right now. I think pre like 40 to 27 dip sort of soul, you would have been just fine. I think afterward, or at least above 100, like back when OK Bears was, it's not like they have like an incredible roadmap or anything. So I think you're shortchanging yourself. But I also don't believe in roadmaps. I think you should like be able to pivot. I think you should just give a general vision for your future. I think you've done a pretty good job of that throughout the project. So let's talk a little bit about clawing your way back up from the depths, because you guys reached like 0.3 Sol at one point, and now we're looking at about 12 Sol on Magic Eden as far as your floor price goes.
Yeah, it's almost an all-time high, like as we're talking. Listen, the sweep that you did is looking like a good fucking trade, I think.
I'm just saying, man. I tried to tell everybody.
I don't even look at the price, but it's just people will start telling me, bro, they're ripping, bro, they're ripping.
Well, it's, you know, everything is for me, like I'm kind of a medium hold trader for the most part. Like I do have another wallet where I do kind of do more flips, but right now I think you're flipping for pennies on the dollar. And
Yeah,
like my time is better spent elsewhere, like dollar per hour wise.
I have something funny to tell you about that, bro.
Yeah,
so,
go ahead.
Like some people know this, but I work part-time for they mainly do VC stuff in crypto, right? It's kind of a VC firm, but I work part-time flipping NFTs for them. And we had this talk with the partner yesterday, and he was like, basically like, bro, like the admin cost of having to log the transaction, like for a lot of these trades is literally will lose money even if you make money. So like
Exactly.
just unless you're like swinging big, he's like, bro, just don't trade. Like,
Yeah,
you know, because like when it was bullish, like you could make like 5, 6, 10K on
easy.
one NFT sale, like flip, you know, like a swing trade. But now it's like easy eats type shit where it's like making like $10 per NFT or something.
That's what I'm saying is like,
Yeah, I'm not
why
trading this shit. Yeah.
it just doesn't make any sense, like emotional, like stress level wise. And you're like, dude, I just flipped that for like 0.5 Sol.
Yeah.
I was joking on Twitter when I said it the other day, but I'm like, literally, that's $15, dude. Like, you might have waited an hour to literally mint something and then flip it for hopefully 0.5 Sol. Even these days, you're better off waiting. I feel like after mint, wait for that dip and then
You
go
flip
back
it for
up.
some lunch money, dude.
Exactly. That's right.
Hey,
So
I respect the grinders though, man. I respect people who can do that. It's just for me, it's not my style, you know.
yeah, for sure. Well, you know, there's better dollar per hour activities out there if you have
how I
other
feel.
industries you're in.
I'm
So
yeah.
yeah, so we have Gen 2 coming up. When I guess my first question for you is like, when did Gen 2 become an idea for you guys? Like, was that always the plan? When, like, at what point in your past 9 months of history did you guys decide like, hey, we're doing Gen 2 and this is how we're going to do it?
Yeah, so I'll show some of the Gen 2. Oh, whoops. Can I share my screen?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, there we go. Cool. But yeah, so this is our Gen 2 for those who don't know. I know a lot of guys in the audience know. But to answer your question, so I'm in the process of like writing a thread about this because I think it's kind of an interesting part of the story. But so, I kind of told you about how it was pre-mint, and I felt like being the first ones to launch on Radium would be like just historic value for our project, like this huge thing, right? Like to me, I was like, oh my God, we have the chance to be the first ones to launch on one of the biggest DeFi platforms on Solana. So that's kind of what I was optimizing for. But honestly, the pixel art, I like pixel art in general, but I didn't really want to do pixel art. So this is like our Gen 1. I wanted to do more an anime style. I'm gonna try to see if I can show you like these early. So I had a couple artists trying to work. So like here's one. This is I was working on this actually pre-mint. Nobody's really ever seen this, but like I wanted to do an anime style, and no one had done that at that point. But we couldn't get the traits and artwork done to my satisfaction in time to be the first ones to launch on Radium, because all these projects really wanted to launch on Radium, and so I felt pressured to launch. And while I had been working on this artwork and some of this stuff that I showed you, right, while I had been working on that, I was like, okay, let me have a fallback plan, like if we can't get this done. And so I had somebody do the pixel art. They did it super quickly, and like they did it just works well because it's modular, so everything kind of fits. And so yeah, but we had been working on a different style. I mean, literally we had sold this style artwork before, right? But for our generative collection, I had been working on this like anime comic inspired artwork generative collection since before mint. So it's like this exact style we've probably been working on for like 4 months, but like I had all these iterations, like, so it's literally been like 10 months like that we've been like that came to this is I actually have 2 full collections done that we have barely shown people, like, so this is kind of like V3 of Gen 2, like, right. And this was like, this is much more consistent with my original vision, like, of the brand. And so I'm just super hyped to like get this out there and get rid of this stuff, because this artwork, it's not really consistent with our comics and stuff. And like, I want a big thing that like I've always thought about is just like, I want everything to like be cohesive and, feel like part of the same, I hate that I'm using the word brand because it's like so overplayed, but that's always been my vision for Cyber Samurai. So like, here's the comic book, right? This is the same artist, and like, this is a different artist. So yeah, long story short, this artwork we've been working on for like literally 10, like almost a year. It's crazy. They came to like what you see today.
Yeah. So this was more of a byproduct of like you wanting to, you got something out. You're like, okay, we'll just stick with the pixel art right now. We didn't get to where we wanted to on launch, but we needed to go ahead and launch it. And then you're like, we got time now. So how did you decide on the Tensei ceremony? How did you decide not to like launch another collection or anything like that, like a Gen 2 collection, like we see a lot of other NFTs do, and just mint from that? Rather, you go ahead and do the burn to earn mechanics of the Tensei ceremony. So you actually burn your Gen 1. And for anybody who's watching who isn't in Cyber Samurai, like, there's going to be a ton of traits. They're mostly randomized. There are some traits that are going to carry over, but I actually pinned a whole link to the Tensei ceremony and some information on that, which we will talk about later, on traits that will carry over. But how did you decide on burn to earn was actually going to be the way forward for you guys?
So, I mean, really, like, my goal is always to bring value to the holders. Like, again, that's cliche, but it's just fucking, there's a reason it's cliche. It's true. Like, that's what every project should be trying to do. So to me, like, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, like, if I just anonymously launched this Gen 2 artwork, like, I could have raised like probably close to $1 million, as another project. But I didn't want to do that, because to me, I'm like, look, people trusted us and we raised $2 million back in September. Like, I am not going to let those fuckers down,
Yeah.
like that. Like, I'm just like, that means the fucking world to me. And so everything is to me about how do we bring value to them. So that's why we didn't do like something where we expand the collection, or like I said, I really could have anonymously launched it. Like, I know all that I could have done. And I know that there's a lot of people who do bullshit like that. And they're just trying to extract value. But like, to me, I'm fucking in this for the long term, dude. Like, working in crypto is like so fucking fun to me that I don't need, yes, I want to be rich, right? I want to make $10 million, but like, I don't want to make $10 million and then not be able to like kick it with people in crypto. You know, I'd rather fucking be broke and like here with you guys. Honestly, I did ask mean that. And so anyways, yeah, it's all been about like bringing value to the holders and just like, you know, maintaining and building strength in the community that we already have. And so that's why we did it this way, where it's like a free mint. It's like basically you get the Gen 1, it's a mint pass for the Gen 2. And then the other thing about it, the old dev is on the update authority for the Gen 1. And I won't get too into it, but like the old dev is like not reliable. And so that's why we're doing this burn method where it's literally a new NFT. Like it's a completely new token. And the developers we have now, who are like some of the best in the business, super reliable, professional, they'll have the update authority. So we'll be able to do cool things like upgrade the traits and things like that. So that's why we decided to do it that way.
Yeah. No, I think it's perfect. And I think it fits the ethos that you're trying to go for with the project, where it is like you didn't want to dilute it. You didn't want to like dilute the collection if you were to add it within the collection umbrella that you guys have with Cyber Samurai, where you're like, oh, Gen 2, and you had to pay like, 2.5 sold a mint or something like that. Whereas the people who have been with you for 9 months are like, dude, what the hell? Like we just rode this out with you the entire time. It's for the people that decided to believe in you at 0.3 sold, decided to believe in you at mint date. And you're like, hey, for doing that, like you guys get a free mint. We're doing all of this for you guys. Like you guys trusted us, you believed in us. And I think that is such a good way moving forward that a lot of projects can learn from. So really, no, it seriously is like, there's few and far between in this space that want to do it for the community for the right reasons, that want to be here for years to come. Which is what I vibe with, right? Like it's those are the projects I want to be involved with. And when I saw you talk, it's not just this project too. You just have passion for the space. So when it comes to like what you have planned for Gen 2, if you guys haven't seen in the white paper, he says he has 50 plus new traits. Shake, do you know how many you ended up with?
I need to double check actually. I think it's like 150 or something, like total traits. Yeah. So, like one of the things, like if there's anybody who's listening who has an NFT project or is doing an NFT project, one of the things I learned, like the lesson of why I explained, we felt rushed to launch on Radiant, we rushed the art, we rushed the mint. There's upside to that because we raised more money back then than we would be able to raise now. Like that's one thing, but we put out a much less polished product. So I wanted to like this art took so fucking long. Even once we decided this is the style, it's taken like, you guys, that's why the Wednesday meme, because it's like takes so long. And I'm like, okay, we got 10 more traits done. It's like, it takes so long. Cause I'm sitting with the artist for hours and I'm like, okay, bro, change this. And, but the reason I did that is because I just wanted it to be like super premium and the problem one of the main problems I have with the Gen 1, like I actually really like pixel art in general. I love SMB's art. I think they're good profile pics, and I like a lot of our NFTs. But like, if you look at the Gen 1 collection, I'd say like 60% of it looks almost the same. Like they don't have a lot of variability in the traits. And so my goal with this new one was like to really make it feel like each single NFT was like its own character that had its own characteristics, but it all kind of fit together and all the different combos looked good together. And that's like really fucking hard to do, basically.
Yeah, man.
With different colors and different patterns and stuff. So but what we did, I think it's really excellent. Literally just last night we generated the 5,000 images. This takes like hours. My dev put them on a Google Drive for me, and I just looked at them one by one, and I'm just super proud of it. I feel like I honestly feel like it's the best profile pic art, like for what I like. Maybe Azuki is better. I love Azuki's art, but I just think ours is like so original and it doesn't look derivative of anybody. And I'm like so proud of that fact,
Yeah, dude, it's hard to come up with originality these days. And I feel like a lot of people are incentivized not to. So it is interesting to see. We're going to get into DojoDB, but I wanted to kind of reiterate to everybody, if you haven't read the white paper, like go ahead and do so. I wanted to read a little bit regarding the art. Is through the Tensei ceremony, we fixed the problem of having undesirable floor NFTs while also making the Gen 1 collection deflationary. Like he thought about this through and through. Like there's There's a reason he does so. I also want to highlight too, before we get into DojoDB and DojoDAO, because I think those are two really unique propositions that you have moving forward, is how long will the Tensei ceremony last? Because again, in the white paper, if you guys miss the Tensei ceremony, in the future, you will have the chance to go ahead and burn those Gen 1s for Gen 2, but it may take more than one.
So, yeah, so the Tensei ceremony, the initial one, we're going to open it for 24 hours. And yeah, you'll have a chance to do the 1-for-1 ratio. And what's really cool about what we're doing is like, because it's like a fucking max pain bear market stage right now, like we have the ability to kind of have an elastic supply in our collection. So it's 5K right now, but like if after Gen 2, let's say half the people burn, and then like the demand for our project is lower than I'd like it to be, we can say, okay, next is 2-for-1. And then that'll deflate the supply by, whatever, 1250, 1200,
Right.
Or we can do that. And then we can save the extra 1200 and use that as training rewards for people who have show long-term, like show on chain, their long-term commitment to the project. And that, I think that's like a good kind of like flywheel, but, I think we're in a cool place with how we're doing the Tensei is like, we can just have the elastic supply, like, and especially right now, like, if at the fucking euphoria of the bear market, we could mint 5K more and it probably wouldn't hurt us at all. It'd probably help us. But right now, like, we can be more intentional with that.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's really good, dude. I'm so excited for this coming up, and I will try to remain as neutral as possible when it comes to this, because we do have the DojoDAO and the DojoDB. Out of curiosity, which one do you think is going to be more of a value to holders?
Yeah, so I can show people this too, if you want. So this is the white paper that's on our site, right? So DojoDAO, it's kind of funny. Like I've considered changing this, but I just love the name because I don't know. Again, like I'm very crypto native, and I like, I understand what a DAO means, and ours is like, it's more of like a group chat. It's like more of like a group chat with like gated access to certain things. That's not really what a DAO is like. It's very much like run by the team, and like it's like a real company that's more centralized in terms of the governance and power. But yeah, DojoDAO, I do think, regardless of that, I just wanted to comment on the name, but like I said, we've put a lot of time into our Discord server, and like considering how to make a Discord server that's fun and valuable, and it's not annoying, something that you want to come in and want to check. And I think we've done a good job with that. And literally just 2 days ago, me and Dorian were changing more things and upgrading it. But what the value of the DojoDAO is to me is really comes to Dorian. Like Dorian's our community manager, and like I think he's the best community manager in the game, like hands down, that I've ever worked with, at least. And Dorian writes these summaries every day of what people are talking about in the Discord. So it's like you don't even have it. Everybody has lives and jobs and families. Like, so if you come in for 5 minutes, you can check what Dorian wrote and get a sense of what's going on, and then you can hang out with your friends or whatever. The other side of it is that we have this like research process where people can submit research, and then they get rewarded for that. So again, it goes back to rewarding the holders, and I'll kind of explain that flywheel. Like the way I look at it is community members, they can contribute to making the Discord server, the digital experience of Cyber Samurai. They can contribute to making that, more enjoyable and valuable. And this is, I know Papa Romeo and Guitar are watching. Like, this is very much from my conversations with them. I had so many late night calls with Papa Romeo where we were like designing this like economic model. But basically, community members can contribute to the server, and that makes it more valuable for all the holders, in my opinion. Yeah. And then we take a percentage of our royalties, and then we pay those community members each week because it might change, right? Somebody might be on vacation for a week and they're not in Discord at all. And then the next week they might be like super active and bringing alpha. So we want to give it week by week based on our royalties. We pay people like between 50 and 100 USDC. And I think it's super dope because it's like, it's not some like passive income Ponzi where we're paying everybody to hold our NFTs. It's like, no, we're paying people who contribute to making it more valuable for everybody. So I love that flywheel of it. But in terms of what I think is more valuable, I think the DojoDB is like honestly cooler because it's just a much more like tangible product. And I can show, like, we can do a little demo, DojoDB. But yeah, DojoDB, I kind of told you guys that, what's it called? That I worked, that I worked part-time for a firm running a Solana NFT trading strategy. And like, I've always been really into trading. And, after our mint, we weren't making any money from royalties. And so the way I knew how to make money was like trading. So I was really focused on trading a lot. Specifically NFTs is like where I've done the best personally, like my personal portfolio. And so I started talking to these devs and I was like, dude, somebody needs to make something where you get, price alerts, like accurate price alerts about, okay, if this goes over X amount, like, notify me. I'll show you guys a screenshot. I don't want to show my Telegram, but here we go. So, no other site has this. Like we do Telegram, Slack, Discord, SMS, and those notifications, those 4 things. And so you can set an alert like this. Like if I want to buy the dip on, we want to buy the dip on Cyber Samurai, right? So you'd look it up like this, you add it to your favorites.
Whoa. Did you just say dip on Cyber Samurai? That's impossible, sir. We're not doing that.
So you like, let's say you go like this. Yeah, you could, it tells you the floor is 11.9 right now. So and I could like say 10. If it goes to 9, add an alert, and then it would send me, where'd that picture go? It would send me something like this, DJ Academy is now 44 SOL. And you could do it on the way up too. So you could say, send me a price when it goes above, 150, right? Like it'll log that for you. And that's the basic functionality. And then the other thing we have with it is this. It sends you daily recaps. Sorry, I keep popping up random shit. There you go. Sends you daily recaps. So it sends you twice a day the current floor price of your watch list. And so this is actually something, again, that me as a professional, like it's funny to say, but when I started working for the firm, it's like I had to put a lot of processes into place and like about documenting things. And so, one of the things I do is I update a spreadsheet and help them, give an idea of like the net asset value of the trading strategy. And so this is what I use for that, where I can twice a day, I can just quickly check and see where my holdings floor prices are. And it makes the job like way easier than going into, somewhere else to have to individually find each floor price. And I'm super proud of this. Like right now it's pretty basic, but I do think that like the functionality is really valuable. But, assuming that like things go well with Gen 2 and some of the other revenue streams we have planned, which like I can talk about too. We're going to continue adding to this. And I want to make it like the best NFT trading platform. Like I'm really inspired by Nansen and Icy tools, which are like popular on Ethereum. And I just want to make something that's like super sick that like everybody wants to use. And, and then our holders are always going to get top premium, pro feature access to it. So this I'm like super proud of, I wouldn't say I was a product manager. I was kind of a product manager, but I like designed the functionality and it's like completely my idea. And I'm just like hyped about it. Like I love software, and to get to like work with really good developers and make a cool piece of software was like the coolest experience ever.
Yeah, no, I've always dreamed of having like a developer team behind me so I can build a bunch of cool stuff, and like you did it. So that's huge. I really do like DojoDB. I like some of the stuff I'm seeing on here, but just trying to put on some critical glasses and whatnot. What do you think about competitors? Because this is one of the spaces that like TradingView integration. Well, Hello Moon and now Soul Sniper have it. So it's like we have to start thinking about people can only look at like one trading database at a time, right? It's not something that has like shared. I don't want to say share market, but like some people are going to prefer one platform over the other. What are some things that you're going to use to differentiate yourself between like Hello Moon, Soul Sniper, Hyperspace, anything like that?
Great question. And, I'm friends with the founders of Hello Moon and Soul Sniper, and I use both. And I love those. I've interviewed both of them, and Max from Soul Sniper like came to my house for the interview and shit. So they're my boys, you know. Where I think we have an edge business wise, I'm gonna be honest, they have really good funding. They have really fucking good developers. Like they're legit as fuck, and I'm bullish on whatever those guys decide to do. Neither of those guys are traders like me, dude. Like I'm a fucking crypto native degenerate trader, like to my core, you know. And I think that's where we have an edge, is that like I'm designing products that I know like degens want, you know, that I know is useful to people. And what I see from them sometimes are things where I'm like, yeah, that's like a cool feature, like hypothetically, like on the whiteboard, but like it doesn't actually give you actionable trading data. And this is, I'm not talking shit about them because their products are way better than ours. Like I'm gonna be honest, right now they shit on us. Like they have so many more features, you know, but certain things they do, I'm like, it's kind of confuses me because like I'm like, how is this useful, you know? But I think that that's where we have the edge. And like, you know, I obviously I pay attention to what they're doing because I literally use them for my job. But I just think that like that we can do different things that are also useful. And I think it's a space where it's not necessarily going to be a winner take all. Like if you look at Ethereum, you have what, NFT nerds, you have icy tools, you have ninja alerts, you have Nansen is like the big one, but all of these are like sustainable businesses that have significant amount of users relatively. And so that's, you know, I feel confident that we can like continue to get market share and get users, like even though these other platforms like are way ahead of us right now. And at the same time, like we have the benefit of having, so this is, you know, there's pros and cons, but we have token holders, like, and we have like a community already there who helps us test it, and are, you know, instant users for it. So, and a good word of mouth, like marketing, you know? So, but again, there's cons to that because I've talked about this with Max. Max is a fucking like genius, dude. Like I love Max. The issue with token holders, and I try to tell this to our community a lot, like I want you to like shit on the application, like pretend like this isn't Cyber Samurai's application. That's why we have this like other name and other Twitter account for it, because I want people to think of it as like not Cyber Samurai. But you know, I've talked about this with Max. Like he always says like once you launch an NFT or a token, like everybody wants to like pump their bags. So your users are your investors, and there's like a misalignment of incentives because they don't want to fud the project. But like when you're doing product development, you actually need people to fud the fuck out of it, you know?
Yeah.
And like that's why it's helpful that again I have guys like Guitar and Papa Romeo who are like huge whale holders of Cyber Samurai. They're not even on the payroll, you know, like, but these guys like are really critical of the project and like double check everything that we do. And you know, so I feel like that kind of keeps us like, you know, honest with ourselves. But you know, I think like as a founder, you have to be like super optimistic that like, dude, I can do this shit, and you have to have conviction in yourself. But you also have to be pessimistic. Like you also have to be like question everything and be like, is this actually as good as I think it is? Is this actually going to make a difference? Is this actually going to like break the internet and like get people talking? You know, so it's a really difficult thing. But again, I think there's pros and cons to having token holders and not having them. But I'm well aware of the cons, and I try to design our like structure, our, you know, to you know, our organization to like deal with that.
Yeah. No, it's good. I think you really hit the nail on the head too, of like holder misalignment when it comes to being critical about something. Because I've seen that a lot, where some people are overly critical, and then some people are most times, 9 times out of 10, they're just like, yeah, this is great. Like we're groundbreaking stuff. And I try to tell people like, look from the outside in, like, is this a project you want to get involved with? So I think that's good, you know, and I'm glad that you're aware. One, I think this is a space where like you can look at it and we're going to spend a certain percentage of time on each platform, right? So like let's say 33% of my time is on each platform between Hello Moon, DojoDB, and Soul Sniper. And then like you guys come out with a dope feature. Well, then it's just allocation of time to DojoDB over Hello Moon and Soul Sniper. And it's just like it's kind of like a portfolio of attention, right? Where
Yeah.
it's just like, hey, I got to allocate time to each one of these things. And really all you're trying to do is like you want to see what they're doing. You want to make your own experience at the same time though, and like make yourself different.
Exactly, bro. And you know, I know roughly how many users Soul Sniper has, and my guess is it's probably more than Hello Moon. I know roughly how many users Nansen has. Like at the end of the day, it's not really shit. Like because there's just not that many people who are like super serious traders, you know. And I hate the meme of it's still early, but it is very early, and like I just think, I mean, I agree with what you're saying. And like, I want to be clear too, like our product is not nearly as good as Soul Sniper or Hello Moon, in my opinion. Like we're not even close. And like, we've had to work, I spent a lot of time on Tensei Ceremony and the Gen 2 and the staking and stuff that's taken a lot of time away from that product. But after the mint, like we're going to put a lot of focus into that. And right now the developers on our team, like they have to do some other work too. They want to work full time on like Dojo and Web3 stuff, but it's because of just the lack of funding that the company has, Cyber Samurai. And so the goal after is to like have the developers be able to pivot and like work only on Cyber Samurai and not do any Web 2 stuff, and just fucking, make DojoDB and like the data product behind it like as good as possible. So yeah, wanted to say that, like, even though I'm acting kind of arrogant, like, oh, like I think we can like take market share from them, like at the end of the day, we don't have that many users, and our product is like pretty basic compared to theirs, and I'm well aware of that.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is just because, I think Evil Flanders said it, that Hello Moon has like 30 devs right now. I actually talked to them on Tuesday.
Yeah, bro.
Just doing like a quick interview with Walker over there, who's also the homie. Like he definitely cares about the space. I'm thankful we have enough people in this space.
I'm coming for you, Walker. No,
that's right.
I'm kidding.
No, it's one of those things that like they know. I'm really curious to see in like this bear market how projects like yourselves, like everybody else in the market, find other ways to generate revenue to keep the company or the project propped up, besides just minting, besides just royalties. Like there needs to be other income streams. And I know that you've talked about it on your white paper. I kind of want to go into streetwear, and then I want to go into some of these questions we got for the giveaway, because there's actually some really good ones, and we just got a flood of them at the last second. Of course, DGen's going to degen. They're going to wait to the last second. So yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about the merch that you guys got coming out and training.
Yeah, let me excuse me. I can show you some pictures of the merch, because I just don't want to post them yet until like announce it, until it's really crisp. But we did do a photo shoot for the merch. I was actually, Mark, Mark Colser, he runs like a podcast.
Yeah.
So I talked to him yesterday, and then when I showed him the merch, he was like, "Oh shit, bro!" Like, and then I think that's why he like tweeted about us, because I could tell that it really clicked for him. And like, oh, these guys are like legit, So here's a couple. I mean, I'm wearing this hat, so it's kind of already. But can I share my screen?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me go ahead and boom.
So this is one of our hats. This is one of our jackets. This work jacket. Here's like a better picture of it. So it's custom Cyber Samurai branding. This is another hat I have right here. You can see it on here. Well, yeah, it looks better there. So I'll just show you the picture. But yeah, this is one of the hats. We have pants with custom little back leg embroidery, and this little tag right here. This is our hat again. And I think we have some more stuff, but these are like the pictures that I think look decent. But most of those are just iPhone pictures. So we'll, the photographer's sending me more stuff, but the merch, like, so I didn't really talk about it, but when I was in college, well, like basically my whole life, like since I was like in fourth, fifth grade, I've been obsessed with fashion. My mom's like a painter, and she cares a ton about like aesthetics. And so she like really instilled that in me. And she would always like criticize my outfits when I went to school. My mom, like, she'd be like, "Oh, are you really going to wear those socks? Like that looks bad, And so I cared so much about what I look like. Like I used to be really, really self-conscious about my fashion, honestly. Now I'm more chill about it. But anyways, I've been super into fashion pretty much my whole life. Growing up, like I was part of online communities like around streetwear, like the Hundreds and Supreme, Bape. And so, before getting into Web3 stuff, like in crypto, all the online communities that I knew were like around, like they have, what's it called? Yeezy. They have the forum, I forget what it's called, Yeezy Talk or something. I used to read that, and it's like about sneaker culture and Jordans and Yeezys, obviously. And like, so it's very similar to me. I saw the parallels. And so, and then once I got into NFTs, I was buying all my favorite projects merch. I was buying DJNA, so I was buying Thugbirds, and merch has always been part of like, I really want to do good merch. Now, obviously it's been 9 months. It's like, where the fuck's the merch, Shake, And so I had made some merch right after mint, and I just wasn't satisfied with it. It was like drop shipping stuff, and I was like, this is not it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so once we had a good month of royalties, a couple months ago, I think, and I had set some cash aside, like, and I was like, okay, dude, like, I'm gonna like put a good chunk of money into making like really good merch. So I called my friend who's he's basically like, let's call him a creative director, and he works with you know, he's worked with like ASAP Rocky and Playboy Cardi. Like he directs music videos, he designs merch, he's done a full like collab. He designed a shoe with Adidas, and like his old company like did a full capsule with Adidas. He's works with Nike. Like he's like a fucking beast, honestly. He's like it's my friend from college, like, and he just always has a good eye. Like he knows what's cool. He's like, you know, has some of the best taste. Anyways, I hit him up and I was like, bro, do you know anyone who can help me design this shit? And he's like, just hire me, dude. And he wasn't cheap, but I was like, okay, I know he's gonna make it good. And so I hired him, and we have this first drop coming out that has 3 hats, 2 shirts, the jacket, 2 pairs of pants, and a kimono. And you know, a large amount of this, again, I put a good, you know, chunk of money into it to just like not even have holders pay for it, because like I don't want to talk shit about other projects. Like I love DegenApes, but I was a little disappointed, to be honest, like that I had like held these like NFTs that are worth thousands of dollars, and then I had paid like $300 or something to mint it, and they had made millions of dollars on royalties, and then like I had to pay like $60 for a hat. I was like, bro, are you fucking kidding me? Like honestly, it really threw me the wrong way. I still paid for it, but I was like, damn, bro, like shouldn't we get some fucking merch? Like, you know? So anyways, again, not trying to talk shit about DegenApes, but just an example. Every NFT project pretty much that I've been a part of makes you pay for the merch, and I didn't want to do that. So we made really cool merch. There will be options to pay for it if you don't earn it through the training, but like I want people to just be able to earn the merch from training, you know? So yeah, over the next few days leading up to Tensei, we'll make an announcement, you know, put something up on a website with more photos of the merch and give you guys an idea. And then once you mint the Gen 2s, you burn and mint, then and you start training them over the next couple of weeks. After that, we'll have it clearly set, like, okay, here's how you can earn some merch. And actually there's about 20 to 30 of our holders that I already contacted. Some of them are in the comments, like who I already made a custom hoodie for with their Gen 1 embroidered, like as a memorial for the Gen 1s. So those guys are going to be getting those pretty soon. And yeah, like that's kind of my philosophy behind the merch. I'm like, it makes sense to me for online communities to have like really strong merch. And I just haven't seen anybody do it the right way yet. And I think we're going to do a really good job of it.
Yeah, I mean, clearly it looks so good. A lot of people were wondering if we have hoodies in the collection as far as like what's generally dropping. Is that going to be planned? Because I didn't hear it in the drop. All I heard was hoodies for the Gen 1 like honoraries, essentially.
Yeah, so in the first drop, there's not a hoodie actually,
Okay.
but I've already talked with Tommy, my friend, and it's gonna be part of the second drop, definitely. And
Sweet.
along with a beanie, which was Guitar's idea,
Love
and
it.
whatever else Tommy thinks of. I hope one day, dude, if the project does well enough and I can justify the cost, like I would work with Tommy probably to design like some type of shoe, like Cyber Samurai shoe, and like he's a beast, dude. Like he launched his own clothing company when he was like 15. Like he's been like making merch for like 15 years, you know? So he knows how to source everything and work with suppliers, and like he's really I think we're gonna do a really good job with it. But no hoodie yet, unfortunately.
That's okay.
No CS hoodie. Yeah.
Dude, I mean, just the quality of merch I just saw is eons and leaps and bounds better than what I've seen in most of the space right now. And the fact that you're willing to kind of reward holders for it through training. There's a lot of questions on training and stuff like that in the giveaway. So I do want to get to those, and I'm going to reserve some of those questions. But the one last question I have before we get into those is, how do you envision like the brand scaling? Because it has to scale beyond just 5,000 or less, I guess, if we have, you know, this upcoming Tensei and then people miss out and then they have to burn 2. Like, how do we scale the brand beyond just the 5,000 NFT holders?
Good question. This is actually one of the things that if I could be critical of the project, like it's very like inward focusing, because it's like a crypto project about crypto, it's like that's what the theme of it is. And so, I guess the answer is that I like part of my vision with the comic book, which I briefly talked about, like I think I want the comic book to be like, we're going to make a lot of physical copies of these too when we finish it. And I think that will be a cool way to at least like introduce people to crypto in like this really fun way. And it's not going to teach them what crypto is, but I think, the comic book and along with the merch, just some of the more like the brand focused things, I'm hopeful that we can use those avenues to onboard people to crypto basically. And so the way that this works, it's very kind of a, ambiguous, abstract idea, but like if I wore this hat to a party in LA, like, right, and I wore like Cyber Samurai merch and shit, like, somebody would probably ask me, like, if they thought it was cool, they'd be like, oh, like, what is that, right? And I want like that experience to happen with our holders, like all over the world, and them get to be like, oh, dude, it's an NFT project, and they'll be like, oh, our NFT's a scam, and then you'll tell them, oh no, dude, like, look, blah blah blah, like I know the founder, and this is what they do, and they make cool comics, and they make software and shit, and like, so that's kind of like my hopes, because our brand is inward facing compared to something like OK Bears, which is like they're kind of approaching it the opposite way, where they're like, we're going to make just like a brand that people get, and then that will get them to buy in. Like it has much more clear, like a much clearer road to widespread adoption, right? Ours is going to be a much tougher path. Like, I'm not going to lie, but I think that by the nature of our project, like the onboarding is going to be kind of more meaningful, because it's literally teaching them about crypto. They get in our server, like it's not scammy. We're educating people. We're helping them navigate the space. So yeah, but I guess long story, like, short answer is like, I think through the branding elements we're doing with the comic specifically, and the merch, and like any type of content we make, right? Like I'm like you, like I make videos, literally, here's how to set up MetaMask, like here's how to set up a Phantom wallet. That's like my most viewed videos, where it's just like simple shit. And I'm really passionate about like that social layer of like the, crypto tech stack, I mean, it's not tech, but it's like that educational, like social layer is super important to me. And so I just think kind of by the nature of like getting physical products out there, and then like making really cool digital experiences, like that we can reach people and onboard them to crypto.
Yeah, no, I think that's like a lot of these projects we're seeing now are just trying to like get the liquidity from current holders, where it's important to onboard those new holders, right? It's important to onboard the new generation of NFT, the people who see the value of NFTs and what they can be, and do something different. So I wholeheartedly appreciate that from somebody who is crypto native, somebody who is passionate about the space. I think we'll see a lot of that. We actually ended up with 26 responses. So um, to the giveaway, I want to get into those questions real quick. What I'm going to do for those that are watching, if you guys are wondering how we're going to determine the Samurai winner, I think we're going to send it to Papa Romeo, Shake, and myself after we're all done with these questions. And we're going to go over and review which one had the best question. And then we will notify you. That was the whole point of getting your Discord name and your Twitter handle via one of those methods, and let you know you won. We do have your wallet address, so we'll just go ahead and airdrop that. I hope everybody use a burner. Never like Crypto 101, please use a burner wallet for everything when it comes to giveaways, when it comes to minting anything, especially. So we have 26 responses. Like I said, last night we were at like 5, and I was honestly, I was like, dude, that they were really 5 good questions, so I wasn't gonna be super upset. But yeah, I'm super excited. We have a lot to go through right now, and there's a few good ones. So there's going to be some lengthy ones. There's some that are overlapping. So I want to get into this first one, where is there going to be a correlation between the level of training my Gen 2 has done and the possible unlocks to the tools mentioned in the white paper? So talking about DojoDB, talking about, maybe some access in Dojo DAO, anything like that.
Yeah, definitely. So, honestly, we haven't completely thought this through yet, because right now we have it just token gated DojoDB. And for the near future, it's just going to stay that way. But yeah, the plans are to have a value accrual from DojoDB to the to Samurai holders. And the issue is that like we don't have the free public version out yet. So once, like, the way I look at it is like my goal is to make the features like so good that people have to use our software, get a free version out so that thousands of people can use it. Because right now we have like, I think 2,500 holders or something. And so I want like 25,000 people to be able to use our software hypothetically, right? So like that's kind of my focus first. And I know if we do that right, there'll be so many ways that like this will help the project and help holders. But it's just, that's our focus right now. So, I haven't, to be honest, I haven't designed like a direct value accrual, but there's a couple ideas we've been playing with. But the way it's going to be for the like near future is just like, all you have to do is hold it. And the rewards are mainly going to be focused on like whitelist spots, comic airdrops, merch, USDC rewards, like things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to lead into, there was a question about soft staking. I'll get to it in a second, because there's actually, it's like, oh, I can just go through 5 questions, and then, this morning everybody
just grabbing a
decided to
drink.
jump in. No, you're fine. I'm gonna go through some more stuff. The same question was also will holding 1 Gen 2 make you eligible for merch drops?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I figured as much.
It will,
Yep.
yeah.
Okay, cool. He said, I like you guys' branding, and the upgraded style is undeniably cool. Keep killing it, Shake. So thank you so much for your question. We'll go to the next one. Small holders or whales, which one is more important for the projects to succeed in long term? And what is your long-term plans to find a proper way to encourage whales to hold more while not hurting the small holders? Question mark.
Yeah, so it's interesting because I used to, I've changed my mind on this like in the past couple months, but whale holders are like essential to your project, right? I mean, you want to have hypothetically like, or ideally, you want to have a well-distributed supply. Like you want to have like 5,000 NFTs, 5,000 holders, like something kind of closer to like what Bored Apes has, or something like that. That's what you ideally want. But obviously starting out that doesn't happen. The whales are super important to a project. And the reason being is like, if you get someone who buys 100 Samurai, right? Like if they're smart, like they know that they cannot exit that position, like basically unless the project's successful. Like I'm like this with Catch King. Like I think I have 150 Catch King. And like, to me, I'm like, it's literally going to 20 soul or like 0. Like I literally can't exit it based on the volume. Like I'll impact the price too much and it'll be 0 basically. And so, you want to have whales who are onboarded with, you want to treat them well, basically. You want to incentivize them, like, ideally, right? Like if you have 1 samurai, compared to having 10 samurai, you get more than you, if you just had 10 people who have 1. And so that's what we're doing through our staking program. And there's going to be more info about that. But basically with the training program, training staking, right? Training, you're going to earn cyber credits. That's what we're calling it. And it's just like off-chain points. Like they're not tokens, but the more, like if you hit certain tiers of holdings, those will have a multiplier on them. And so you'll basically earn more points that you can use to redeem for different rewards.
Gotcha. Okay. That's great. I mean, I do think, in a project like Cyber Samurai, I actually think like having a whale isn't a bad thing. Like there's no, one of the things that I see in NFTs, the specific industry, I think whales like are a more of a bigger question is gaming, like you said with Catch King, but more so like we have some in Remnants that like I don't think there's a wrong thing. Like people invested a ton of money. Like you should always be like thankful for whales. I think they prop up your project for sure. It's when it comes to like power level within a game or something like that, where you're like, okay, we just got to find a way to scale this to where like, yes, they still get an advantage. They still get like power for holding and investing and believing in us. But you also don't want to scare away the new people, right? In a project.
Exactly. Like, what's good for the price, like, because what do people want? Like, they want the price to go up of the NFT, right? And then they want to have a reason not to sell and take profit on it, right? And that's the goal as a founder, is like, you want to drive so much demand to your project that people can flip it, and still the price goes up. It's weird talking about the price. Like, I'm personally not that motivated by the price, but I know the price is super important to the holders, right? Like, and the price is super important to marketing. Now with whatever's floor 12 SOL and like higher volume, the amount of like attention and connections that I've made is like insane compared to when we were like 1 SOL. Like, no one cared about collaborating with me at 1 SOL, and then now like the founders of the biggest projects are reaching out to me. And so it is really, the price is actually super important. And if you think about like what are the dynamics of the price going up, it actually helps if you have like multiple people who hold 50 of them, who are just diamond dicking the fucking NFTs, like they're holding them forever. Like, and so I know guitar is one of those people, right? And like my friend KW is one of those people, and I'm like, have really close relationships with them. And then like, an example would be recently we found this guy who's a big holder who was dumping a bunch, and I like kind of swallowed my pride, and I talked to him about it, and like I convinced him basically to delist him. Like, I didn't tell him to delist him, but I was like, I gave him the rundown, like, bro, like, trust me, like you want to hold this shit, like it's gonna be good what we're doing.
I remember him in Discord. He was the guy who had the wall at like 7 or something like that. We're like, yeah, tear down the wall. We still bought like half of them, dude. It was like Naf and I were like, how many more can we sweep? Like, well, yeah, let's sweep them. And you can just see us on the social tracker and stuff on Hello Moon. I thought that was hilarious. But no, I don't think there should be anything wrong with whales. But moving on to the next question, because we do have a few. There's some that I'm going to skip over. Some late entries that, since I've talked about this, dude, the cutoff was 10 a.m., guys. So I'm just gonna give you guys a heads up. Like, we're not turning in homework late. When it comes to which brands outside of crypto do you draw the most inspiration from, and how do they affect your long-term vision for Cyber Samurai?
So largely like streetwear brands and luxury brands. And like I really like Goyard and Louis Vuitton, and when it comes, but what I know super well is streetwear. Like, and so Supreme, everybody knows Supreme. I love Palace. I have a bunch of Palace stuff, and I used to skate a lot. And I'd say also pretty inspired by the hundreds. I actually interned at the hundreds. When I told you I worked in fashion for a couple of years, that was my first job. As I interned. And I got to, talk with Bobby and Ben Hundreds, who like have built this multi-million-dollar streetwear business. And one of the things the Hundreds does really well is collaborations. And they have like probably, almost 100 collaborations a year. And like they've collaborated with, in the NFT space, they did a collab with like Bored Apes, and then they do collabs with like Carhartt, and they'll do collabs with like, it's somewhat similar to Supreme, but like they do way more collabs. Like they collab with like, just everybody. Like, how Supreme did like Supreme Oreo, and they did like Supreme fucking Stapler. Like, so I think that stuff is really important. And like, Dorian, who helps me with answering Twitter DMs. I just recently like started paying him more and to help with that, because like I know that any individual partnership can be a huge catalyst for your project. So that's why I try not to like talk shit about other projects or be a dick on Twitter as much as I like want to feel like that at times, because like, I'll give an example. Like Savannah is one of our, partners, and our characters are going to be featured. For those who don't know, Savannah's a 2D metaverse game. And we were one of their first partners. And so they designed a character for us. They designed a dojo building for us. And it's going to have a lot of utility, and our community is going to be able to like interact with this game and hang out in there and like, work on the comic book and stuff. And Savannah, like when they hit me up, they had less than 1,000 followers, and it was like deep in like my message requests, but I like found it and talked to them, and now they're like good friends of mine. And like, and to me, they're adding so much value to the project, right? Like it's not like a hype collab that like pumped our floor, but to me, I'm like so grateful for that connection. And so that's the way, like, I look at, like, I draw inspiration from these streetwear brands and their partnerships, because any individual one can get the right eyes on your project. And like, so that's why I just try to keep an open mind and like try to, look at the glass half full about partnerships. we are somewhat picky. Like I don't really like doing, you know, whitelist collab retweet giveaways on our Twitter. Like I don't do that shit. I always try to like have a more meaningful collaboration if possible. Like the way what we're doing, right? Like where you have people send questions, it's like more engaged. And but yeah, like that's one of the biggest things I learned from like streetwear is like, or from my time in fashion was just, you know, how important partnerships are in building a brand.
Yeah, absolutely. And no, I'm really thankful, honestly, for this style of giveaway versus like I did a Feminines whitelist giveaway when I first started the channel, and honestly, it was like the worst thing ever. It killed my retention on YouTube, and YouTube doesn't like that. Like they're like, I would rather you have 10 people that watch it for 50% of the video versus like a million people watch it for like 5%. That means more ads can run, and well, we believe in you long term. So yeah, no,
That's
the
interesting.
partnerships. Yeah. I did like a deep dive on YouTube. It's how I grew my real estate business, like to where it is now.
Yeah, because you have a
Where
big YouTube channel for that, right?
yeah, I mean, relatively speaking, it's real estate's more hyper local, right? So
Yeah,
I like
that's
I'm not trying to get leads over in like Topeka, Kansas, right? I'm over
right.
here in Florida. So yeah,
What
I
part
have
of
to be
Florida are
very
you in?
Jacksonville. So yeah, I'm in Northeast Florida. I actually love it here. The cost of living's great, dude. The house
Dude,
I
I
have.
might fucking hit you up to
Yeah.
hook me up because we've been thinking about moving out there
Dude,
from
please,
LA.
like it is, well, business wise, heck yeah, dude. It's like tax code,
Exactly,
the
bro.
business friendly
I'm getting
environment.
fucked.
It's
People
it
think I
is
have money, but I like literally don't. I'm like literally poor after like taxes and rent
well,
and business
California
and
is a
like
very expensive place to
hiring new
live.
devs and shit. It's like I'm like, dude, like I'm like literally I've told people like, dude, like, you know, if this shit doesn't work, I'm fucking getting a job. Like people are
Yeah.
like, oh, Shake's a whale. I'm like, no, I'm not, dude.
Well,
Trust me.
Jacksonville, I honestly I am trying to, I mean, a side project, little side note is I'm trying to make Jacksonville more tech friendly. Especially Web3. You know, I'm trying to start. I actually have a few people, one of them may be on here, Gavin, but there's a few other people here in Jacksonville that like I'm gotten pretty close with through Solana and NFTs in general.
Yeah,
And I'm
there's a
just
lot of
trying to
people
start
out there.
there. Yeah, well, in Florida in general, there's a lot
Yeah,
of people in Miami, but Miami's like high cost. I mean,
right.
while the taxes are nice, dude, the cost of Miami is brutal for the East Coast. So yeah, Jacksonville is dude, it's great here. I don't know why more people don't talk about it. It just needs to be more developed. Like it feels like it's 10 years behind the time. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get Jacksonville up to the time so it's like an attractive place for people to move to
That's
and
sick, bro.
like make it a hub. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to do a bajillion different things right now. But going back to the questions, because this is the Cyber Samurai show and not trying to shill Jacksonville, even though it's a great place to live. Well, I'm not sure if I'll be able to watch the entire show live, but in your opinion, what is the differentiator between your project and other projects with similar features? We kind of talked about this a little bit, so I don't want to focus on it, but I've seen a lot of hype for the project and some smart individuals interested in it, and I feel like I'm missing something.
Yeah. So, you know, the thing with our project is there's a lot to digest, you know, and that's something that I'm trying to work on is simplifying the value prop of the project. But like a way to summarize it is like we have better branding and art than any utility project, and we have better utility than any branding project. That's what it is.
I was gonna say
Like
the
hands
same
down, we
thing.
do. You know?
Yeah, I think what you guys and it's something that Frank talked about a little bit, which while I'm talking about it, I had 3 questions that said, "Is Shake and Frank the same person? Is Shake the D Gods founder?" Haha. I'm like, dude, it's hilarious because Shake actually responded on Twitter, guys, that he's like, dude, I see a lot of parallels between me and Frank, and I thought it was hilarious that just a few days after I now get these questions.
But sorry, I'm just tweeting what I just said because I was like, that was good. That's a little tweet.
Yeah,
But
yeah, no,
am I
you
the same
guys.
person as Frank? Is that the question?
Yeah, that was the question. Which, yeah, no, that was a meme question. There's a few meme questions in here. So,
Wait, tell me what was the mean part? I think I missed it.
Mike, is Shake the same as Frank? Is Frank Shake and all that good
Oh, I
stuff?
don't
And I'm
think that's
like,
mean. That's a
no,
compliment, bro. If he
no.
thinks
I
I'm
was saying,
right.
I was saying meme, mimetic.
Oh,
Like, yeah,
mean,
like
mean.
meme
Yeah,
questions.
yeah.
No, there's not a whole bunch
Oh,
of meme questions in here. The
dude,
only thing I got was
can I
like,
comment on the
no,
Frank thing? So,
yeah,
dude, what like I don't have a D God, and like the first time I heard Frank
wish
speak,
I
it
did.
was a weird experience where like he reminds me so much of people I grew up with, you know. And I've talked to him, and I know what high school he went to and shit, and like he grew up pretty close to me, you know. And yeah, he reminds me a lot of myself. Like he's kind of like ADD, like really passionate, driven, like LA tech bro, you know? And like that's
Yeah.
exactly what I am. Like, but you know what I would say about Frank is like he's fucking way more successful than me. I mean, he launched a Y Combinator like incubated startup before this, and like he's been in growth hacking for a while. Like I had to kind of learn that shit on the job, and so you know, yeah, I'm not Frank, but like I actually recently got on a call with him like a couple nights ago, and like we definitely vibe a lot, and I have tons of respect for him. Like you know, I've learned so much from Frank, Soulport Tom, Monolith, who's the founder of DJ Apes. Like I've learned so much from watching how those guys communicate with their community, and like and taking little bits of like alpha from them as leaders, like in general. So, but yeah, I really fuck with Frank, and I hope, you know, one day I can get a dead god, you know.
Yeah, for sure. No, I'm in the same boat where like I just remember seeing them go from 30 or from 3 to 30, and I was like, well, it'll have to retrace at some point. Then it just kept going and kept going, and I'm like, dude, why did I fade them? It's okay. Now I get to just respect them from afar and hopefully get Duppy's whitelist, which by the way, Cyber Samurais is in that. What was it? I haven't checked the pool yet, but last time I checked, we were at like number 4.
For Duppies, yeah,
Yeah.
shit, I should check. A humor part was when we were number 1 because we were the first ones to deposit. We had, and it was like 14.7 and 14.70. We had all the whitelist spots basically.
Right.
That was hilarious. But yeah, I mean, I'm you know, again, I don't know if I said it on this yet, but you know, Frank, I talked to him about Duppies, and this says it on their website, so it's all public. But like they're doing a Moonbirds model, like exactly like we were inspired by Moonbirds. He was inspired by Moonbirds. And you know, I'm super bullish on what they're doing. Like they have just top tier execution, and Frank and his team, like they have a really good balance of hyping the fuck out of something and making a really loyal community, and actually having substance too. Like honestly, like when I just said that, we have better utility than branding projects. We have better branding than utility projects. DGods is the same. Like they have some of the best branding, and they have like really cool products and like experiences as well. And so you know, I think NFT projects, you know, like people go, oh, the branding meta's dead, it's about builders. I'm like, bro, you have to, I don't give a fuck who you are, you have to brand yourself, dude. You
Yeah.
have a brand, and you have to let people respect that. Like you know, otherwise people won't remember you, bro. Like, oh, there's that guy, what was this project? I don't fucking know. If it doesn't have a good brand, you won't even remember what it's called.
Exactly.
So I think you got to have both. And I don't even remember what the question was, but yeah, that's I have mad respect for those founders, and like, and I've learned so much from them. And I'm not Frank.
I think it is all about creating that ecosystem. I've talked about it like ad nauseum in some of my videos, where I'm just like, dude, you have to build an ecosystem. It's not just the brand, it's not just the utility, it's not just the artwork. It's whoever like decides to simultaneously bring all of those together in like a super harmonizing way. I think it was really respectful if people weren't in the Discord that are watching right now, how much time that Shake decided like, hey, I'm spending a bunch of time on the brand book. I don't think enough people talked about it, where like you want something to evoke emotion, where you look at something, you're like, oh, that's Cyber Samurai, right? You want brand recognition. It needs to be synonymous throughout like most of your assets. So I think a lot of people don't like, brand is a very overplayed word, especially in this, like, you know, after this last phase of meta where now we're down bad and everybody's like, okay, well, what's the utility? And I'm just laughing because I'm like, dude, if you were not asking these same questions like a month ago, like Bubble Goose, like got a huge bunch of crap and shit thrown at it because of a 7 soul mint price. But, you know, nobody's asking the same question. Like, what do we get for holding this? Nobody was asking those questions to OK Bears or any of the other branding projects, you know.
Okay,
so
Bears
it's
is amazing, dude. I mean, they like that honestly, I hired the branding guy after I saw the success of OK Bears. I was like, we were already working on more cohesive branding, but I was like, I need to hire a fucking expert. Like I wanted this shit to be top tier. Dude. And yeah, I mean, and you know, I want to give a shout out too. So his name's Daniel. He's been a huge help with picking out the colors. He designed the logo. And then also one of our engineers, he kind of wears a bunch of different hats, but his name's Saul. And he's like, you know, kind of the product manager, and he's a full stack engineer. Saul has an amazing eye. He went to art school, and actually before he started his software development shit, like he was touring with bands and like very into like cultural and art scene. So Saul, working with him on like the wireframes for the website and Tensei, he's like a fucking beast. I mean, he designed one of our logos like literally in like one day. Like he was like, and he didn't like ask me for money for it. He's just like, oh, this, boom, here you go. You know, it's like
amazing.
he's a beast. So yeah, but the
Shouts
branding
out to
is
Saul.
super important.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, let's some of these other questions I could skip over. Like this one was asking what's the difference between Gen 1, Gen 2. I just want to highlight again. He was asking them why do we NFT holders have to own or buy Cyber Samurai Gen 2? You do not have to buy Gen 2. You buy Gen 1 to burn at the Tensei ceremony, which has been said that it's going to be this spring, and I don't want to put any fire under Shake's ass over here, but the fact is spring ends after June 20th, so that is in 4 days. So Wednesday Tensei, probably Densei. It's so if I had to guess and use deductive reasoning, but yes, you do not have to buy Gen 2 unless after the Tensei ceremony and you don't hold a Gen 1. Like, yeah, go ahead and buy Gen 2. But no, if you want it now, if you want to go through the mint process, if you want to go through the Tensei ceremony, buy a Gen 1. You can find them on Magic Eden or Solana Art because they are OG, or Coral Cube or anything like that. Going over some of the other things. Long-term potential. Somebody was asking me a question about Midnight Panthers minting today. I don't. This is a Cyber Samurai show, sir. This is a good one. This is a long one, but it's a good one. Why does Shake believe people should invest in Cyber Samurai? This new look they're getting. Is it a second collection, or is this like D Gods, Dead Gods? Yeah, I would say it more aligns with that. Just to answer that off your back. Like it is a burning of Gen 1 for Gen 2. I already iterated that. After this new look comes out, where does Shake see himself and wants to be in a year after that? What are your thoughts on Google or major company? Dude, you asked so many questions here, my guy. But they're good questions.
Where do we see ourselves a year?
Yeah. So where do you see yourself as well as the project in a year?
Yeah. So here, I'm going to share my screen again.
Yep.
I haven't shown this to that many people, but
Alpha, let's go. This is what I do this for.
This is the main thing. You guys can follow this account. Hold on. If you want, there's nothing really there yet. The logo, but oh shit, what's the fucking name again? Oh, sorry. Soleil and Syntax. These are the two little companies here. So, basically, like I said, I kind of alluded to it before, but we've thought a lot about. I've thought a lot about other ways to bring in revenue, because I just think that like the trading profile picks is like, I think people will continue to do that. But if you're an individual profile pick project, like your chances of success of making millions in annual revenue based on your royalties is actually very, very low. Like even if you have high royalties, like the D-Gods, like if you run the numbers, like D-Gods isn't making that much to like run a full tech company,
Right.
So, and they're making the most. So, I've thought a lot about it. Like, how do you bring in other revenue to like keep the project going? And so when we built DojoDB, we had to basically create a data product to get the data. And so this is actually another way that we compete, I think, well with our competitors. Like most of the competitors use Magic Eden's APIs. So if someone's not technical, basically that means their servers are pinging Magic Eden's servers to get the floor price and listings data. And they're going through a middleman to get the data, right? When we built DojoDB, this is powered by Soleil. I don't know if we have it on there yet, but Soleil is the entity behind some of the tech products that our team is going to be doing. So it's going to be separate than Cyber Samurai. And we have a couple things kind of on deck for that. This is the first time I've really talked about it publicly, but Soleil is the three main products we're going to come out with is like the Tensei ceremony. So Tensei is going to become its own like product name. And we already have a couple prospective customers who like have shown interest and agree with the pricing model for Tensei, where because we built this in-house. So we have that. We also have the soft staking training model. I think a lot of projects are going to be interested in that once they see how well we do it. And then we have the data product, which is, basically we go to an RPC node. We go straight to the source of truth, the blockchain. That's where we get our data. So, it's actually pretty cool. But like a lot of times our data is correct and Magic Eden's is wrong. Like even though it's listed on Magic Eden, ours is going to the ledger to get the data. And so, we find discrepancies in that a lot, which is kind of interesting thing. But we have Soleil, and then this is something that I started, coming up with more recently, working with Dorian and a couple, advisors. But this is like Syntax Studios. It's kind of like a work in progress name, but we have a team that can help with Discord, Telegram moderation, and creating user engagement. Because again, I think Dorian is one of the best in the business, and I think we have one of the best Discords in the business, like that him and I've helped design. And so these are two things again, and this also I have a couple customers perspective that I'm talking to already with this, and we haven't really been public with it yet, and it's already looking potentially promising. So those are two ways that we are looking at bringing in extra revenue. So to answer the question, a year from now, I envision I want Cyber Samurai to be like top 5 project on Solana. I mean, I want it to be number 1, but I'm just kind of setting a more realistic goal, right? Like top 5, pretty sure we can do number 1. I'm less sure we can do, but hey, we're gonna try. So I want Cyber Samurai to be one of the top projects. I want it to be like a cornerstone where, we have these service offerings. We're helping make better NFT projects. We're helping make the space better and more reliable and like more, more fun. And then at the same time, we're going to be doing after the mint, I'm going to try to scale up our comic operations. And so I already have a couple collabs lined up with new DeFi projects where we are creating comic panels specifically for them. We're going to finish our own comic too, but creating comic panels specifically for those projects, creating characters and kind of lore around specific protocols. And this isn't monetizing at first. First, I want to get some customers and make the stuff and expense it. But that's another thing that I think just puts us again with the branding, right? Like, I don't know if many people know this because I'm a fucking Twitter fiend, but like there's crypto Twitter and there's NFT Twitter. It's actually like pretty separate. Mm-hmm. But crypto Twitter is more about like DeFi and tokens. And so I know that us getting exposure on these DeFi projects' Twitter accounts will bring new eyes to our NFT project. New crypto users who don't really fuck with NFTs will be looking at Cyber Samurai. And so long term, that's where I see us. I see us just as this kind of like, again, like cornerstone, like critical part of Solana, NFT, and DeFi of the ecosystem, like, and just a trusted source for different products and services, and that making the coolest art with our comics.
Yeah, that's a really good perspective on it, because I came from crypto Twitter too before I pretty much rebranded into like NFTs only, but I still follow a lot of people from crypto Twitter. A lot of them have unfollowed me since I got into NFTs because their hatred for NFTs knows no bounds, and I don't blame them. Like, if you see a lot of the space, you're like that's a scam, but bro, they don't remember like 2017 when everybody was releasing a shitcoin, and like they rug pulled too. Like, shit happens. It's how a space grows. So just showing people that there is value in the space, I think is going to be super helpful. And they're already the ones that are more crypto native that are going to see the value in it if you just have to like nudge them in the right direction, right? So I do think it's a really good strategy, actually, because I was kind of skeptical when he said like DeFi comics, but that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, the DeFi comics, it's, I'm aware because there's not a huge addressable market for it, to be honest. Like, people aren't going to be buying DeFi comics in like comic book stores and like that be anything significant, but it's more just like a play on providing value for other projects. So the collaboration aspect, but then also the extending our own brand and like audience, because, that's like, marketing is kind of what comes before sales, right? So like if you want people to buy Cyber Samurai, like first they have to know about it and they have to think it's cool. And I think the DeFi comics are like, I've seen it happen. Like, I think it's a really good way to do it. And once we have the better art, like that's been the thing, is we put out these comics, mm-hmm. People, traders and people see it, and then they see the pixel art and they're like, what the fuck?
Right.
It just feels messy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
and then
disparity
like
there.
even our logos, like on like Solana, we used to have this weird old logo, and it was like neon colors, and it looked weird. And so that's why with the Tensei and everything we're rolling out, it's going to be like
Rebirth
super
of
cohesive.
everything.
Yeah, and like you know, NFTs are weird. It's because it's like a Veblen good. Like the higher the price, the more people want it. And
Yep.
just now that we're more established, and I think we're going to be like top 20 project pretty soon, in my opinion. Like not financial advice, but that I'm working fucking hard to make that
That's why,
happen.
bro,
And I
I
know
put my
when
money behind it.
yeah, I know when that happens, like it's weird. Like people might have not cared that much about the DeFi comics, but then once the project is more popular, they care more about the comics. It like becomes cooler, That's just
Yeah.
like how I know that's how it works. So
And there's going to be some
yeah.
sentimental value there, like it was, I was talking about it with, Bubble Goose, not to get back to that again, but, Carl Jones is like, bro, he like shaped my teenage years. Like I watched the Boondocks religiously. So it was when I saw there was a trait called like a goose named Slickback, I always thought back to the Cat Williams episode where he played a pimp named Slickback. It's like, I have to have one. I don't even care what the premium I pay for it is. Like that's my shit right there. So yeah, it's gonna be people who look back at those comics. They're like, dude, this is the shit that got me into NFTs. Like this was the entry point for me. I need to have like the full comic, right? And so
Exactly,
it
bro.
just adds in value back to the ecosystem. That's really cool.
Because it's like, again, going back to the education part, I just want to give an example. Like when I got into crypto, there's all these financial terms and crypto specific terms that you're like, what the fuck does that mean, right? And you don't really have like a good frame of reference for it. And I was a psychology major. Like I worked in a lab. I got my bachelor's in psychology. And so, I understand how like memory retention works. Like that was like specifically labs that I worked in. And around that, like that's why memes are powerful, right? Like I know the power of a meme because it's like this one thing that's what a meme it means technically is like an idea that is easily passed between people. Like that's all it means. It just means like this simple, like catchy, sticky thing. And so when I made the characters, can I see where they are? Well, we have like this one character called here's a good example. So we have this guy, right? George the Gem Hunter. Could you put up my screen again?
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry.
Also, somebody commented, yeah, I love Bubble Goose as well. I hold a bunch of them. But like
Yeah.
this guy's name is George the Gem Hunter. And like we have one called Lucy the Liquidator. And so the idea with these is like when you come into crypto and someone says you're a gem hunter, like what's a gem, But like once you see this character and he's like, and you see, oh, he's looking for the next 100x, it kind of puts this like thought in your head, or like we have the bad guys are called ARB bots, like arbitrage bots. When I got into crypto, I didn't know what the fuck ARB was. I didn't even know bots like did a lot of trading, right? But you put this like image in their head, like, oh, these guys are fighting against them and they're taking their coins. And we literally, it's all in a comic that shows you this. So if somebody sees that and then they go and they start learning about arbitrage, they start learning about liquidation, like it ties it back to that and it makes it easier for them to understand because of the powerful meme. So yeah. I'm super passionate about that part of the project. It's not like, as hype or whatever, but again, I think long-term sustainability, like that just keeps people's attention and actually provides tangible value in terms of like education and like brand expansion.
Yeah, for sure. No, that makes so much sense, dude. I kind of wanted to go back to some of these. Yeah, Cap, you had a lot of good questions in here. There's what are your thoughts on Google or a major company in the future coming in Solana NFTs or Ethereum, sweeping the whole floors of the main collections in both ecosystems in order to be whales and control NFTs as they want? They can't really do that. I'll just kind of give you a heads up that like there's no incentive for them to do that because if they just get swept and bought up, like it's not a community project anymore, which is a lot of what people buy into NFTs for. So if you see like one person, like that's a huge research thing for me is like how many unique holders there are. Cause I do like to see like a lot of, I like to see whales. I think whales are a pillar to a project, but I also like to see like a lot of holders outside of those. So I think if you see that there's no financial incentive for them, when you say control NFTs, they can't really, I mean, maybe if there's like an actual DAO, a lot of the DAOs that we see in NFT chats are like Shake said, just kind of like group chats. Where they aren't really making like pivotal decisions for and they can't like implement them, right? So it's even if they make that decision, you guys still have like authority to be like, no, we're not changing the metadata or anything like that. So
could you show my screen again? I want to like, I was kind of thinking about this yesterday, and I thought it was interesting, like, because I had a couple of VCs approach me, and none of the top projects are VC backed. Like everybody talks about, oh, it's bullish, they have VC funding, and like, yes, it's good if projects have money to pay their employees and keep building, but like you pointed out, it's about community, dude. Like, I'm sure Frank literally was a Y Combinator alum. Like, he could so easily raise $3 million back then to start an NFT project, but he didn't. And I think he didn't because he understands what the game is. So yeah, none of these are top projects. It's just, and I'm not saying like, if you take VC funding, like you're not going to make it. You might, but it's just, you look at the facts, like they're not, like look at Google, bro. These are the most expensive ones. Like, and it's just completely, it's not even, I don't even know if they have a dev. It's just completely branding and like, community focused around the access you get to other members of the community. And so these big companies, like if Google came in, I mean, bro, if Google came in and tried to buy me out, like, I'm not going to lie, dude, if they fucking brought that check, like I would take it, but like at the end of the day, like I know that getting that type of influence on the brand is not that helpful. So
they no, so yeah, to answer your question, that's like there's not a real big incentive for one Google or somebody to come in and just sweep everything, because people will be like, well, if they're sweeping, I don't know if you ever seen too, like after a project mints back in the day, it used to be like a sweep meta where it's like, hey, we're doing like a community delist and sweep by the project, and we're gonna buy a bunch of, all people are doing is like, cool, you're giving me exit liquidity. Like that's so yeah, that'll just happen on like a corporate scale. As people be like, okay, cool, they're giving me exit liquidity. There's a lot of questions in here where the people clearly didn't read the white paper. They're like, what's the benefit of a Gen 2? And I'm like, dude, it's literally, we've covered it ad nauseum in this podcast and this video and in the white paper. So there are a few more good questions though. Why did CyberSam team decide to go into the soft staking route? We kind of covered on it, but I do think people want to hear that from you.
Yeah. So, my experience with staking NFTs has just been frustrating, basically. Like, if the network's not working, or if you're a whale and you have a bunch of them, this is what happens to me with Catch King. And I'm super bullish Catch King. Again, I hold so many, but like I had to individually send them all on expeditions. And like, it was like this thing, you couldn't batch send them at first and couldn't get the batch rewards and stuff. So that's part of it, is just for ease of access. And, the other part of it is like, I want people to trust our devs and stuff, but like, you should be able to hold the NFT in your wallet, like the tech exists for non-custodial staking. Like, and so it's those two things. It's just like, I want you to have custody and I want you to have a fucking fun, easy experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And the second part of that was like, instead of token emitting staking, which is seemed to bridge DeFi and NFTs. I don't know if I necessarily believe that. That's going to be
say that again.
It says like, okay, so why did the Cyber Samurai team decide to go with soft staking route instead of token emitting staking, which is seemed to bridge DeFi and NFTs?
Oh yeah, so that's kind of a different topic about no token. I mean, basically, I don't think that really any NFT project like ours has good utility for the token. I think DGods has like the best NFT project token. And then like, I think things like Atadia or Genesis Go, like they're more tech companies than they are NFT projects, right? Like they have an NFT, but like to me, they're like a tech company. They're more like a true like DeFi token focused project. Right. And the NFT is just a way to give you the token. So that's not really what I'm referring to. I'm more referring to things like Boryoku Dragons or Taio. Like I hold Taio. It's like, I hold 2 fucking Taios, and no, I hold 4 Taios. And like, and I love Tom, but I think Scrap is kind of shitty. Like, I mean, they had to do it because he took over the project, but like in its current form, I just don't think it's sustainable. And that's why they're building all this new shit to try to create value for the token and a reason for people to use it. They're building tech products, and we're building tech products, but I just like, I don't feel confident in like to like, let's say you have a token and it has like $10 million valuation, which is like a low market cap in tokens, right? Like the amount, like we're not even close to having revenue producing products to bring in to justify that valuation. And so that's just the way I look at it, is like, I'm not necessarily against a token. I'm just like, I want like, after rushing the initial launch of Cyber Samurai, I learned a hard lesson, and I want to do things right. Like, you know what I mean? I want to do it like the proper way. So if we ever do a token, which we could one day, but we would have to like have a very clear reason that the token exists. There have to be a problem that the token solves. And right now, I just don't feel like there's a problem that a token would solve. It's like you're making up a fake problem and then a solution for that fake problem.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I've always been a fan of like when the whales came out with the blueprint for floating or whatever. I'm like, yes, that's what staking should be. Like, do you know how annoying it is to remember like I forgot I staked something over on like a website and like I'm just now remembering it. Like it becomes like the more you the more you see your NFTs daily, like in your wallet, in your, like if you're looking on Magic Eden and they pop up on your list, or not listings, but like on your profile page, it firmly plants in the resonation of like being in the project. And I think when you put that out of sight, out of mind, like people aren't going to remember your project. They're not going to be involved. They're not going to want to know what's going on in the project or contribute in any meaningful way. So yeah, tokens also bring about potential trouble for the SEC. Exactly right, Dorian. I think that is definitely,
that's the other thing I was going to say. Like
yeah,
we like talked, we actually, well, I don't know if he wants to be doxxed, but it's in our a community member is a really good crypto lawyer. He works at a crypto law firm, and I paid them like a good chunk of money to dig into the token, like, and do a memo on it and research it. And because there's no, like, most people probably don't know this, but like there's a lot of court cases that you can look at for IDO or ICOs, because a lot of those companies got sued by the SEC or whatever. But there's none for NFTs with tokens. Like it's pretty new phenomenon. And so it's tough to tell there's no laws. Like it's very unclear, right?
Yeah.
So you have to make a lot of assumptions and do a lot of research. So that's why I hired lawyers for it. And they did give me a framework for a way I could do a token that is low risk in terms of, being classified as a security. Basically the way it would be is like, you'd have to kind of approach it. A good example is Chuck E. Cheese. That's the example my lawyers used. Like Chuck E. Cheese has a token. They're not a security, right? Like no one's speculating on the token. There's no clear value accrual between Chuck E. Cheese's business operations and the token, but like the token's useful and you use it at Chuck E. Cheese, right?
Right.
And so that's how you have to do it in NFTs. I think that's how Frank and DGods have done it. But again, I just don't think that, like, because I feel like I'm trying to provide a ton of value and focus on the value prop for the NFT. And if I feel like I did a token, then I'm like, okay, now there's like another thing I have to try to create value for and create a reason for, like, yeah. And I'd rather just like the holders like get fucking like cool they shit. Feel appreciated, like they get cool shit, they get to have cool experiences, and like, that's how I look at it.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's good. I kind of want to go through some of these for someone who doesn't have much knowledge about the project. What's the utility of the project? I get so many like, what's the utility of the project, bro? It's amazing how many people don't want to spend like 5 minutes just looking over a GitHub book on like what the project's about.
Which I need to have like a one sentence to describe it. I mean, it's basically, how would I even describe it? You basically you get access to a trading tool, and there's a gamified soft staking to earn merch and NFTs, and like that's like how I'd like quickly explain it. But like you said, there's a lot, if you read it, there's things that make us different like than other projects. And yeah, it's you kind of have to take a couple sentences to explain it usually.
No, that's
is this the Moonbird? Is someone trolling, dude? That's hilarious. So I do love Moonbirds.
There's some other questions I want to get into. I'm going to actually send them over to you, and maybe we can make some stuff, but I actually do have to get going here relatively soon. This has been a really productive, but there's one more thing I want to ask, because I thought it was a good question. You guys actually came in, like I was only preparing like 15 minutes to ask these questions, and of course you guys flood the floodgates, and I'm like, well, I already prepared 45 minutes for Shake to speak about the project. So the last question I want to ask before I hop off here is, will we have IP rights to our digital assets?
Good question. I think so I need to like come up with a message for this, but like short answer, yes. Like, I mean, yeah. I don't think people actually care about that. I think it's just like a good thing for fucking Twitter threads, but I don't think anybody really actually cares. But short answer is yes. Like, you know, but I have to get a trademark lawyer to like trademark Cyber Samurai and the logo and certain aspects of the brand, and that would cost me honestly like so much money that the reason I didn't do it is because I wanted to like pay devs and pay Dorian and like, you know, pay myself. And so like, that's why we haven't done that shit yet. But long story short, like I want people to use their NFT, like however they see fit. It gets complicated because these SE cards, we make copies of 3, and then the comic pages are NFTs, but there's 35 prints. So it's like, okay, who has the IP rights? Like if there's 35 holders. So that's just something we have to figure out with the lawyer and stuff. But, you know, again, reason I haven't done that is I thought the money could be used better elsewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to read through some of these questions. I actually just I tried to tell my next appointment I'm going to be like 15 minutes late. Just like, that's fine. So I bought myself 10 more minutes because man, you guys came in with some really good questions, and I want to like respect them because that's part of the giveaway. And I also want them to be asked on stream because I'm sure other people have these questions. So when it comes to question for Shake, what motivates you to build, and what impact do you want Cyber Samurai to have in the NFT space? I feel like we kind of covered it, but like, what's your general summary of that?
It was what do I want to build and what's the impact I want to have?
Yeah. What motivates you to build?
Like what motivates me to build is just like the community. Like it's cliche, but you know, it means so much to me that people trust me to, you know, and then the team to like deliver on this stuff. And I just love coming in Discord every day and like saying like good morning and like making memes with everybody. And in terms of like long-term impact, like the reason I outlined some of those service businesses, which are separate things, you know, that I have a part in. The reason I outlined that is because I think like I want to help. Like something about me, right? I pretty much take a call. Like if I have time, I'll take a call with any NFT founder and I'll talk to them for 30 minutes and like tell them what I've learned, like for free, you know?
Yeah.
And the reason I do that is because like I want to see more NFT, like good NFT projects like in Solana, because a lot of them like aren't that good, you know? And I feel like they're kind of cash grabs. And so I just care a lot about like helping NFTs become better in general, and having like, you know, all these people are competitors, but at the same time, like the reason that, you know, Frank or Monolith or Soulpartam will help other projects is because they realize that like, yeah, we're competing with them, but at the same time, if there's just more good projects, like it becomes more attractive for new people to come into Solana NFTs. And like, that's the goal, right? Like that's what Anatoly's working on. That's what I'm working on. I want more people to like come and use self-custody and use the blockchain and like experience why it's valuable, you know?
Yeah.
So it's kind of a broad answer, but yeah, that's like my long-term goal.
Absolutely. One guy wanted to know more about the cards. He loves the look of them. Have you guys made physical copies of them? And if not, is it in the plan? So kind of like the comic book where you guys do want to make the physical comics. Do you guys have any plans to make the physical cards? Not immediately.
I want to.
That's a not immediately side right there.
You know what, dude? You just reminded me, bro. I was talking to a guy about it. I need to follow up with him. There's a guy who makes really cool NFT cards for Solana where you could just connect your wallet. Fuck, what was that guy's name, bro? But yes, I do definitely want to do that.
Yeah. So there's, I forgot about this question too. It was lost. Okay. How can we get involved and become an analyst for DojoDB? And what kind of work would being analyst for DojoDB entail? I would imagine that's just for NFT holders. Is that correct? Or are you opening that up?
How do I want analysts to get involved?
Yeah. Yeah. How can we get involved and become an analyst for DojoDB or DojoDAO, I guess? And then, and what kind of work would being an analyst for DojoDAO entail?
I mean, so, you know, I have people approach me to like be alpha callers all the time, and I've tried out a couple of them, but I just didn't think it was a good model, because these guys, it's basically like they're posting the same research in every Discord. So it's just easily copied. Right. So the way that we do it is like, I mean, like I said, we literally pay people for submitting research and bringing alpha and being and like helping in our Discord. any way you bring value to the Discord, whether it's memes, content, research, like it doesn't even have to be alpha, but any of those things, you can do that in our Discord, and like there's a good chance you'll get paid for it that week. So that's the way you can contribute, is just go in there. We need to work on this process, with the research submissions, but you can go in there and find these templates for submitting research about a yield farm or a new NFT project or a new DeFi protocol, a new airdrop, maybe, like, and most likely get paid. Like that's one of the main things we look at when we pay people, is who's like submitting, formatted research.
Right. No, that I think that's a good thing. I think that's a good synopsis of it. When it comes to Gen 1, somebody said, what if we want to keep Gen 1? That is their first NFT, so their sentimental value. So did you have any
Yeah, someone
insight
said
on
that
that?
in our Discord. It might be the same person. I don't know. Someone's literally replying to me saying that. If you want to keep it, you can keep it. We're not going to like rug the Gen 1, but we're putting all the utility in Gen 2. Like we want we're trying to incentivize people to burn it. So if you keep it, like basically nothing happens, but like just understand that the Gen 1 holders are like not going to be my priority in terms of like who I'm trying to provide value for.
Yeah, bro, just right click save. There you go. There's how you keep.
Exactly. If you just want the JPEG, like, yeah.
I understand there's sentimental value there, but yeah, we're moving forward. There was a question, as you hinted, if we secure Duppy's whitelist, they will be distributed through the training program. Will there also be other whitelists distributed this way? And will it only be whitelists, or will there be some other sort of rewards?
Yeah, so there will be other rewards. The comic drops, which we outlined some of the future utility of the comics and how they kind of fit into the samurai like flywheel. But we haven't been focusing, because all the focus has been on Gen 2 right now, like I said. So the comic airdrops, part of the kind of new formula that we'll have for determining who gets those, will be based on training as well as like off-chain contribution. And those, I don't know what those are at right now. They're free airdrops, but they find a fair market value. Right now they're at 2.8, right? And certain pages, like if people want a certain page more because of the art, like those go for more, like the covers at 7 Sol. So the comic pages, I think, is a really cool thing that we do. Again, we're not telling people that it's going to make you money, but I'm just stating a
value
fact
it. Yeah.
that it does.
People value it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then
like they might go to zero.
Like
I wouldn't count on it. Yeah. But like with the training, like I'm just going to be transparent. I understand that like merch, you can't sell samurai merch and make money. Like, so I understand that. And like, we're definitely going to do a lot of things that are like on chain so that people could potentially trade these things. Like, and I do like the auction model, like what DGods brought into it. And so that's potentially going to be part of the equation, is just buying other projects and airdropping them to people based on training. But I'd rather focus more on things that like we can make. And I think the bigger our platform gets, the more whitelists we get for big projects. So, I'm pretty confident in that. That might be a place where I hire somebody to like specifically do whitelist hunting, but I already have a few guys who kind of help with that. So,
right. Yeah. Okay. That's good. Last question, then we're done, dude. This has been awesome. First off, I really do appreciate your time. This has been so much fun talking about the project.
Yeah,
and
bro.
I am very, really very, very excited for what's to come. But last question, we'll end it on this note. What are your personal favorite traits and skins from the new collection?
Ooh.
I knew that's going to be a tough one. You painstakingly look at all of them.
Yeah, dude. I feel like I say a new one every day. I mean, it just depends on the mood. Like the alien, for some reason, I relate with the alien the most. Like I think like to me, that's like more my personality is the alien. And I just like the blue with the red background, and the blue with a lot of backgrounds. It just has really bold blue. So I like the alien, this cityscape skin, which was inspired by the OK Bears lo-fi skin.
Sick. Yeah, so
that one is super dope. And then I also love the it's called Humor. It's Pepe. So that one's like funny. If I'm feeling like in a funny mood or something, like I love the Pepe. It always makes me laugh. but he like looks pretty tight. So that's the skins I like. In terms of traits, like shit, man, I really love the drift bomber jacket that we made, the clothing, the Cyber Samurai coach's jacket, which like I showed you guys, we have in real life. We have that. We're going to do something like, again, this is inspired by Moonbirds, but like if you have a samurai with a certain piece of merch and you train it, then like you'll be able to get that piece of merch. So there's like 75 coach's jacket and a Cyber Samurai. If you get one, like you will have the opportunity to get that piece of merch for free before most other people. And that's
amazing.
That's a little
I love that. That's fun, dude. That's fun. Yeah, that's fun stuff. All right, dude. What a stream. I was not expecting to talk for an hour and 45 minutes. I kind of figured we would or could do it. I could probably talk to you for another 3 hours if I wanted to, but we're going to end it there.
I appreciate it, man. You ask good questions.
Yeah, and, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I love talking about this shit. I'm like so passionate about it, and
I can tell.
So I'm really thankful to get to do an interview.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm happy to be your first YouTube interview. You are my interviewee, the first interviewee status there. Yeah. This is exciting. So, yeah, man, I'm really looking forward to it. Again, spring ends June 20th, guys. So I guess June 21st is the first day of summer. So, you know, read between the lines there. It is going to be a semi-stealth mint. Is that correct?
Yeah. We want to like just hype it up a ton, like the 1 or 2 days before. And so that's like the semi-stealth. Like I didn't want it to be this thing where like 2 months ahead, you're like, oh, the date's coming. Right. You know, it's kind of been like that. Like, you know, when you announce the actual launch date, I think there's something different. But what I'll say is like Dorian and I were using the Tensei like yesterday, like on DevNet. So like it's very close. And it was working. It was fucking dope. We were both really happy with it. So
dude, yeah. So excited, man. All right. Well, Sensei, thank you so much for your time. Tensei, soon say. Until then,
Wednesday, Tensei.
Yeah, I'll talk to you later, bro. Thank you so much for your time. It's been such a pleasure, and I'm sure we'll do it again in 3 months when you're a top 5 project.
Hell yeah, dude. Let's do it, bro. Let's fucking do it.
Sounds good. All right, guys. Well, I'll catch you guys later. Thank you so much for tuning into the stream as always, and we'll see you on the next one.
All right. Peace.